So with that, I'm going to call on Emily Lashendock from Icelandair. Emily, you out there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Greg. And
Great.
hopefully those of you with me on your screen can now see me as well. Just wanted to say hello, so you would all have a face to my name as I begin with our presentation today. As Greg mentioned, I am one of the account managers here at Icelandair, and I'm very excited to give you a little bit of our basic presentation today to run you through who we are, what we do, and the services that we can offer for you. So without further ado, I'm not meaning to rhyme, but I'm realizing that all just came out quite rhymey. I will go ahead and get started. As Greg mentioned, there is a questions panel, and I will make sure to take plenty of time at the end for those questions to answer some. So if any come up along the way, feel free to write those in. Okay, so just starting off with the story or the history of Icelandair. We have been in business for nearly 90 years now, starting flights back in 1937. We weren't initially called Icelandair, but we do carry that legacy from 1937 with us today. And of course, with our hub in Keflavik or Reykjavik, as most people know, the actual international hub there is located about 45 minutes to the south on a little peninsula called Keflavik. We've expanded obviously over those last 88 years or so, and are very excited to offer some of the premier transatlantic travel for you all. Flying, of course, through that hub in Keflavik onto more than 40 destination cities in Europe. Those include Northern and Southern Europe, as well as hubs in the Mediterranean, and some very exciting new ones as well, which I'll review with you shortly. As I mentioned, our hub is located right here in the epicenter of Keflavik International Airport. There is a secondary airport located in downtown Reykjavik as well, which is used for all of our domestic travel, which is another huge part of our business. So we actually offer services within 4 markets, to and from Iceland, as well as via Iceland onto Europe or vice versa, and within. So we're one of the very few and very lucky carriers to have all of those different options for you. We situate ourselves in between the legacy and low-cost archetypes for most carriers. So where you may find more nonstop routes to, say major cities such as London, Paris, Rome, etc., the value for money that we offer, as well as some of those benefits that come with taking a stopover in Reykjavik in Iceland, really do put us in a great position, and we think we are worth it. So I'll take you to the next slide where you'll get a bit of a bigger view of this route map that we offer. Just to give you a good idea of what a flight on Icelandair looks like. Today, I'm located at our office here in Boston, which was actually our first North American destination. And from Boston to Reykjavik, that flight is about 4.5 hours. So many people don't realize Iceland is just as close, or can be just as close as flying even within the US from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's a really great destination. It is out of this world beautiful. And if you don't know much about it, I'd really encourage you to learn more. As you can see, that network has expanded as well. Our newest route is actually launching this Sunday in Miami, Florida. So if you know anybody down there, give them a shout. But we have been very excited to continue expanding this route map. Prior to Miami, we just launched Nashville, Orlando, and Raleigh-Durham. And over in Europe in the last few months as well, we've launched Edinburgh. We've announced Venice, as well as Faro in the Algarve of Portugal. So a lot of opportunity as far as destinations go. It doesn't just have to be Iceland or one of those major hubs. You can really find your niche within our offerings. As I mentioned, we also do operate a large network of domestic flights within Iceland, as well as to Greenland. So Greenland has long been a fairly inaccessible country and part of the world that not many people have been able to explore. But we do offer really quick and easy flights over there. So again, you would use one of our nonstop routes from North America over to Keflavik, and then take a quick connection to one of those 4 destinations in Greenland. We also offer flights to the Faroe Islands, which are not pictured here, but as you would imagine, are also a quite niche and hard to get to destination, but we make it easy with our through fares. Speaking of through fares, the Icelandair stopover. This is really a trademark of our offerings, and I think a phenomenal opportunity, and also just something that really makes the flight worth it. Not only your money, but the experience. Your experience with Icelandair really begins when you get on the plane. We do some wonderful service. All of our staff as well are mostly from Iceland. So you really kind of get that feel for the country and the people, their culture, as soon as you step on board. But one of the really unique things that we do is offer the Icelandair stopover. And depending on which fare you choose to book, I'll go through those fare families in a little bit as well, so you'll have a better idea of what each means. But depending on which fare you book with Icelandair, you'll have a set amount of days, or in the case of Saga Premium Flex fares, unlimited for time spent in Iceland at no additional cost. Now, of course, you'll book your hotels, car rentals, things like that, which you can as well do with Icelandair holidays. But at the kind of essence of this is really to emphasize the fact that you can stop in Iceland. It doesn't have to be for an extraordinarily long amount of time. It can be 3 days, as with our economy light fares, or anywhere between 3 and 7 days, as with our standard flex and premium fares. Kind of pivoting here into our fleet. Our fleet has grown a lot in the last few years, in the last couple of decades, especially since we've expanded into the North American markets. And we are very excited to be starting a new endeavor in our fleet renewal with the Airbus A321s, both the LR and the XLR aircraft. We have begun taking in the LR, and will continue with the XLRs starting in 2026 to really kind of focus on our sustainability efforts as well as the customer experience. Speaking of sustainability, a little bit about what our kind of focuses are and the projects that we're constantly working on to improve our impact on the globe is really just that. So as I mentioned, the A321s are coming into the fleet, as well as the Boeing 737 MAXs. Both of these aircraft will create a tremendously less amount of carbon emissions, as well as increased fuel efficiency. They're comfortable, smooth rides that will be great for these short and semi-long haul flights. And they will aim to phase out the Boeing 757s, which do take up a considerable amount of our fleet at this moment. Here is a list of our Codeshare partners. So not only can you fly with Icelandair branded flights, you can fly with a number of other airlines all around the world. Within the United States, we operate Codeshares with Alaska Airlines, JetBlue, as well as Southwest, which isn't mentioned here, but that was a very exciting development this past year. And then abroad, we have Emirates, Finnair, Air Baltic, SAS, and Turkish Airlines. So again, connecting, both the North American continent and the European continent, but then onto Asia and the rest of the world. Here's just an exciting photo of our announcement with Southwest. And then onto our onboard service. So as I mentioned a few slides earlier, depending on which fare you purchase with your tickets, there are obviously different levels of service as well as benefits that you get from them. The main point that I want to emphasize here is that we have 2 cabins of onboard service regardless of aircraft. So we have our standard economy class as well as our Saga class or business class. We do not offer a comfort seating area or a lay flat bed first class iteration, just the 2, economy and Saga. Here's a little insight into our Saga Premium cabin. So as you can tell, it is our business class or version thereof. Within each aircraft, you'll get all of the bells and whistles that come with, your standard business class ticket, from priority check-in and lounge access to, the seat itself, in-flight entertainment, and just elevated levels of service. With our Icelandair economy class, you will still be just as comfortable as those in Saga, but obviously from a much lower price point, as well as some limitations when it comes to those benefits. But you still do have, very importantly, with your economy standard and economy flex fares, you still do have your baggage included, as well as your seat reservations. So there's no additional cost to book a standard seat or to check one bag up to 50 pounds. A little bit of information here about our hub in Keflavik or Iceland. As I mentioned before, it is 45 minutes to downtown Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland, and it sits at a great location as well if you were to, do one of our stopovers, whether for 3, 5, or 7 days. You have a great opportunity to hop on one of the scenic drives there, whether that's the Ring Road, which goes around the entire circumference of Iceland, or the Golden Circle, which again could be done in one of those lesser stopover times of 2 to 3 days. Additionally, we have a Saga class lounge for all transiting passengers there in Reykjavik. So this is our only Icelandair branded lounge. However, with other airlines and other airports around North America and Europe, we do also offer some lounge access there. One of the other great benefits of flying through Keflavik on your way to Europe and vice versa is, of course, the ease and the convenience of doing so. So when you get to Iceland, you'll be going through Schengen immigration clearance, which for those of you who have flown to Europe before and have flown into, London, Amsterdam, or even Paris, and know the pain of standing in a 2-hour passport control line, you don't have to do that when you fly through Iceland. It is a really easy, quick experience there. All the people are lovely as well, so you won't walk away frustrated or tired. And that makes the minimum connection times also a lot less. When flying through Keflavik, you only need 45 minutes as opposed to other European hubs where you have those 2 to 3 hour minimum times. Here is a graph of our different fare families. So just to give you, again, the sort of basic overview of those fare families, we have 3 economy fares as well as 2 Saga Premium fares. The most important thing I would note here is that there are only 2 fares, one in each level of service, that are refundable. So that would be the Economy Flex fare and the Saga Premium Flex fares. That's usually people's most asked questions, so I'll make sure to highlight that. The only refundable fares are the Economy Flex and the Saga Premium Flex. All right, and then heading over to our resources. Icelandair does have a travel agent portal. This is not to be used as a booking tool. You guys have Centrav for that. But this is a great place to get more information about Icelandair, about our services, and to learn more really about what we offer and what you can offer your clients. This gives you access to events and other webinars that we've hosted, as well as trade shows and discount information. So again, you probably have your own resource through Centrav where you can find some of that information. But if you wanted to head over to agents.icelandair.com, that'll give you some better insight that you can take back to Centrav and use. Additionally, we have the Icelandair newsletter where you can subscribe to get access to latest deals and news when it comes to all things Icelandair. This can be related to, current events. This can be things coming up. And if I were to give one piece of advice, it would be definitely looking at this next month, looking into our Black Friday deals. That'll be something very exciting. That'll be released first through the newsletter. So if you want to get access to that, please do subscribe. And yeah, just other fun information about what's going on in Iceland. It is a year-round destination. I think there's a big misconception about that as well. Whether you're going at the height of summer, where you have, of course, the warmer weather, the nice temperatures and lush green landscapes, you might have some clients who want to go when it's, the dead cold of winter, when the northern lights are at their brightest. So really do pay attention to that newsletter and make sure you're up to date on all things Iceland. And then just to finish off with the presentation, I wanted to put my information here. As the account manager for Centrav, my name is Emily Lashendock, and my email there is just emily@icelandair.is. So with that, I'm just going to.
With that, I'm guessing you're going to take a look at the questions.
Yes.
And while you look at those, Emily, I'm going to jump in here and answer one question that I saw rolling through. Is it how do you book a stopover on Centrav.com? Pretty easy to do. You can just search an itinerary, then click edit this itinerary, and you can modify it and add a stopover. Or you can go to Trip Builder and you can build the entire thing from scratch. The best thing to remember, because you've got a lot going into your memory bank right now, is go to knowledge base on Centrav.com. We've got a video there. If you just search for the word stopover, the video will show you how to do it. In addition to that, I want to tell everyone now that everyone's on the call, because we had people jumping on late, regarding the two prizes that we're giving, or that Icelandair is giving away. What we are going to do is right after this presentation, I will use a random feature to search everyone that's attended this webinar, not the registrations, but only those who've attended the webinar, and then we'll notify you of the winners that way. So at least if you're here on the webinar attending it, you are eligible. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Emily.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Some excellent questions here. The first one I just wanted to cover or reiterate for anyone who came in a little late is our Codeshare partners. So again, those in the US specifically pertaining to this question are going to be Southwest, JetBlue, and Alaska. The next question that I just saw and lost, but now I'm back, is the Saga business class. Do we allow access to lounges of your Codeshare partners? So unfortunately, that is something that is up to individual airports that we can't control. In the US and Europe, there is a solid chance that, depending on demand and time of day you're flying in, you will be allowed in, but we can only really control the Saga lounge itself in Keflavik. All right. Somebody asked about our base fares, example from Boston. So that's one of the greatest things, I think, especially in this day and age, is finding affordable fares on a quality airline. Emphasis on quality airline there. I flew Icelandair myself on a personal trip before I even started working for them and had such a pleasant experience. So I'm really happy to share that. But for example, from Boston, I think some of our fares are as low as $3.99 round trip. And again, with some of our upcoming promotions, you may see fares lower than that. Next question I'll answer, are flatbed seats planned in the future? I am not privy to any of that information, unfortunately. I believe for the A321s, our newest airplanes that will have added to the fleet, that will not be the case. So for now, it is just our standard Saga premium seats, which are quite comfortable, I will say. And again, our longest flights, even those over from the West Coast in Seattle, are no more than, on average, 5 to 7 hours. So they're not proper red eyes. And obviously sleep is important, but you can also sleep when you get to Reykjavik. Somebody asked for my contact info. That will be included. Greg will have my presentation and the recording of this. But just again, my info is Emily Lashendock, emily@icelandair.is. But you'll be able to access that through your Centrav portals as well. All right. With the JetBlue United merger, will you have a code share with United? At this moment, I don't believe so. If anything should change, that's obviously something that would be a great newsletter article. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe to our newsletter, follow the latest, please do that. If you are flying from Nashville to the continent, we do not offer free meals over the pond. So that'll just be for our Saga class. If you book a Saga Premium or a Premium Flex fare. For our economy fares, you can pre-order your meals. Otherwise, they are just going to be those complimentary snacks and soft drinks. Right, and just scanning over a few more that came in. Somebody asked about the difference between those two airports I mentioned that are in Iceland itself. So the airport with the code KEF, that is Keflavik International Airport. That is our main international hub. All international flights from the US and Europe will go in there. Reykjavik Airport, which is located a bit closer to the downtown area, which I can see why people would want that to be beneficial. It is just a domestic airport. So unfortunately, none of those flights from the US or Europe will be going in or out of there. However, the transportation between the two airports is quite easy and efficient. I used it myself, and a lot of our partners within the Iceland tourism community are quite good at what they do and getting people between them. Right. Somebody asked about the Schengen clearance and the implementation of EES. So with the entry into Iceland at the moment, there are no changes. However, any updates would come through. At the moment, to get into Iceland, all you need to do is fill out your electronic forms, or if you prefer to do it the old school way, the paper forms when you're en route. But there are no sort of visa requirements for getting into Iceland at the moment. That would be, an obstacle or present any large challenges for you. Okay. Yes, so from Miami this coming Sunday, I'm actually going to be attending the launch myself, which I'm very excited about. That will be a nonstop flight from Miami, Florida to Reykjavik, Keflavik International Airport. And yes, that Miami route is already active, so you can book flights. You know, the first flight, as I mentioned, departs this Sunday. It's coming in from Keflavik on Saturday. It departs back out on Sunday, and you can go ahead and book that at any time. Can people bring their own meal onto the plane? That is something that would be more of a TSA requirement. Obviously, at most airports now, you can bring food through or purchase food in the terminal to bring on planes. Obviously, you just have your limitations, mostly with beverages and liquids. All right, what months are you able to see the Northern Lights? This is always a question I love to answer because it really does vary. However, the most popular time where you'll see the Northern Lights is anywhere between October and December, and then following up on the other side, February through April. So January and February, for that matter, can be a bit darker, and the weather can be a bit more, you know, variable. So not only do the Northern Lights, you know, depend on darkness, of which Iceland has no shortage of in the winter. They depend on things like cloud cover, rain, snow, etc. So those snowier months of January and February, your chances might be a little slimmer, but it can really vary. When I was there last November, I had 3 consecutive nights where I saw the Northern Lights. So it's pretty much up to luck and the skies above. Someone did ask me to pull back up the fare family chart. And if you can see my screen, then you should be able to see that now. There are 5 different fare families within Icelandair's service. Really, the biggest thing I would take away from this would be the refundability, of which we have 2, the Economy Flex and the Saga Premium Flex fares, as well as checked luggage. That's another huge one. Seats, when you do purchase seats or would like to upgrade to an extra legroom seat, the fees are, you know, variable with where you're flying to and from, but I wouldn't say any more than, you know, I'd say on average about $50 to $100 US for one of those upgraded seats.